The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. You feel it before you see it. A heaviness in the air, a coldness in people's eyes. Something just feels off. And yet you tell yourself you're imagining things. You chalk it up to bad luck, a bad day, maybe bad vibes. But my friends, what if it's not just in your head? What if someone is actively working against you without ever lifting a finger in front of your face? Before we go any further, do yourself a favor. Hit that like button and press subscribe, because this isn't just a video, it's a spiritual shield. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll want armor, not just answers. Stay with me, because what we're about to talk about might just explain everything that's been falling apart around you. Hey folks, imagine this. You walk into a room and the light bulb flickers, not just once, every time. You try to shrug it off. Maybe it's the wiring, but deep down, you know, that feeling, that shiver down your back. That's not imagination. That's your soul saying something is not right here. Like walking into a house where everything looks fine on the surface, but the walls are soaked in something invisible. Like mold that hasn't shown itself yet, but it's already in your lungs. That's how spiritual attacks work. That's how witchcraft feels. Subtle, quiet, almost polite. Until your peace disappears, your mind turns against you, and your relationships crumble without cause. Now listen, I'm not here to freak you out or pull you into some fantasy story with potions and broomsticks. I'm here to give it to you straight. In today's world, witchcraft doesn't come with pointy hats. It comes with envy, silent intentions, and spiritual sabotage. It's the energy someone sends your way when they smile in your face, but curse you with their heart. It's the moment you start to glow, and suddenly you feel a strange fog trying to dim your light. And the most dangerous part? You won't see it coming, not with your eyes at least, but your life will feel it. Your spirit will know. You see, most people don't believe they could be under any kind of spiritual attack. They laugh it off. They say, I don't believe in that stuff. But just because you don't believe in a poison doesn't mean it won't kill you. Just because you can't see a storm cloud inside someone's heart doesn't mean it can't rain all over your blessings. Some of you watching this have had a run of misfortunes that don't make sense. Everything you touch turns cold. People you love turn distant. Your energy gets drained like someone poked invisible holes in your soul. That's not random. That's not life being unfair. That might be something darker, something designed. And this is where the Stoics come in. Marcus Aurelius didn't walk around burning sage, but he knew about unseen battles. He said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. What does that mean for us? That we need to sharpen our minds. That awareness is your first line of protection. You don't defeat what you refuse to acknowledge. The enemy loves your disbelief. It's their invisibility cloak. So, my friends, we're going to uncover this together. The 7 signs that someone might be using witchcraft on you, not in the movies, in real life, in your energy, in your relationships, in your mind, because you deserve to be free. And if any of this sounds too familiar already, you're in the right place. Now breathe deep, open your mind, and remind yourself of this. Your peace is your responsibility. Say it with me. I protect my peace. Write it in the comments right now if you're ready to cut the invisible cords wrapped around your light. Show me, show yourself, and show the ones watching you silently from the shadows that you're not here to be broken. You're here to break free. Now stay with me. It's time to expose the truth. Sign 1. Their presence makes you feel heavier, not lighter. You must grow in strength before you wish for sympathy. Marcus Aurelius. There are people who walk into the room and the air changes, not in a poetic butterflies in your stomach kind of way. No, I'm talking about that sudden invisible shift, like a pressure drop before a storm. The moment they enter, your shoulders tense, your thoughts get clouded, your gut knots up, but you don't know why. You smile because it's polite, you laugh because it's expected, but inside, your energy is screaming, "Get away." It's like they carry a storm behind their eyes, but they hide it with charm. And the worst part, you blame yourself for feeling uncomfortable. You say, maybe I'm just overreacting, or they haven't done anything wrong, I'm just tired. But what if you're not tired? What if your body is trying to tell you that it's under attack? Imagine sitting in your own living room, your safe space, and someone walks in and suddenly it feels like gravity has tripled. Your plants seem to wilt faster when they're around. Your dog hides in the other room. And your peace? Gone. Like someone quietly opened the window and let all the warmth out. That's not random, my friends. That's energy. That's vibration. And energy never lies. You might start asking yourself, why do I feel this way around them? They haven't even said anything. Or, am I the problem? No, you are not the problem. You're the radar. And your radar is picking up on something they don't want you to see. It could be jealousy. It could be spiritual projection. It could even be witchcraft. Because yes, witchcraft doesn't need candles and spells to work. Sometimes it's just intentions soaked in resentment, sent your way through smiles and silence. Here's the lie you've been sold, that if you can't prove it, it must not be real. That your gut feeling is just anxiety. That your exhaustion is just burnout. That your emotional unease is just overthinking. But Stoic philosophy teaches us to observe without needing approval. Epictetus once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." But here's the twist. This isn't your imagination. This is reality, just one that most people are too afraid to name. You've been taught to ignore your instincts, to silence your inner warnings, to be kind, even when your soul is being drained. But let's break that now. If someone's presence weighs on you, drains you, makes you feel like your spirit is shrinking, don't dismiss it. That's not being judgmental. That's being protective. That's your spirit saying, they don't belong here. You see, some people don't want to hurt you physically. They want to wear you down spiritually. They want you confused, exhausted, second-guessing yourself. Because when your mind is foggy, you're easier to control. That's the oldest tactic in dark spiritual warfare. Make them doubt their own truth. And when you finally pull away, they'll act shocked, hurt, confused. They'll say, "What did I do?" But deep down, they know what they carry. So what do you do when someone's energy feels like a weight on your soul? You reclaim your space, you bless it, you breathe life back into it. You cut the cord, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And you remember this. You don't need proof to protect your peace. Let me say that again. You do not need proof to protect your peace. Some things won't make sense to the logical mind because they are not logical attacks. They are spiritual ones. And your job is not to decode every intention. Your job is to trust your awareness and act accordingly. This is the first sign, and for many of you, it will hit the hardest. Because you've already felt it. You've been living with it. You just didn't have a name for it. But now you do. So don't shrink. Don't second guess. Stand in your light and say it with me. I trust my energy. Write it down below in the comments. Show yourself. Show the world. Show the ones who underestimated your spirit. You're not imagining it, you're awakening to it. And stay with me, because in the next sign, we go even deeper into what happens when your life starts collapsing piece by piece, right after they enter it. Sign 2. Everything starts going wrong after they show up. Just as nature takes every obstacle, every impediment, and works around it, turning it to its purposes, so too can a person turn each setback into fuel. Marcus Aurelius. Let's talk about the kind of chaos that doesn't arrive like a thunderclap. It seeps in like a silent leak. It starts small, subtle. One thing breaks, then another. Your plans fall apart. Your appointments get cancelled. You misplace your keys, then lose a business deal. It's like the universe is playing dodgeball with your dreams. But here's the part no one wants to say out loud. It all started after one person walked into your life. At first, you try to be reasonable. You tell yourself, bad days happen. Sure, they do. But what about when the bad days keep showing up like clockwork? What about when every time you get excited about something, a goal, a breakthrough, a connection, something invisible crushes it the moment it's within reach? What if it's not bad luck? What if it's spiritual sabotage in disguise? My friends, listen closely. This is how witchcraft works in the modern world. It doesn't announce itself with chanting and cloaks. It walks in smiling, asks how your family's doing, and quietly sets fire to your blessings behind the scenes. You feel like you're cursed, but you still try to rationalize it. And that's the trap. Let me paint the picture. You've been doing well. Things are flowing. You're motivated. Then they show up. A friend, a date, a co-worker, someone new, or someone returning. And suddenly your engine stalls. Not just your car, but your life. Work slows down. People start ghosting you. Your sleep goes from peaceful to restless. And your confidence, gone. It doesn't plummet. It leaks, like a slow drip from a cracked pipe you can't find. Every time you try to fix one thing, something else breaks. You start thinking, maybe I'm the problem, maybe I'm out of alignment. No, you're not. You're under attack, because when someone wants to curse you, they don't need to hex your body. They just need to interfere with your flow. And energy, real spiritual energy, is all about flow. Stoic philosophy tells us that what interrupts the natural order of things should be examined, not excused. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." But what if that impediment isn't natural? What if someone placed it there, silently, to slow your momentum? Think back. Who came into your life right before the tide turned? Who suddenly grew closer, more curious, more involved, only for your world to start unraveling? It's not always a stranger. Sometimes it's someone who seems like a friend but carries envy in their shadow. Sometimes it's a relative who always smiles a little too wide when things go wrong for you. And sometimes it's a person who claims they care, but your blessings started dying the moment they touched your life. It's painful to admit this. You don't want to see them as the problem. You want to believe the best. But spiritual sabotage thrives in your silence. It grows stronger every time you ignore the patterns. This isn't about paranoia. It's about pattern recognition. And the pattern is this. You rise, they arrive, and everything starts sinking. That's not your fault. That's a spiritual ambush. But here's the truth. You are not powerless. The fact that you're watching this right now means your awareness is already rising. And awareness is the first sword. When you start observing instead of reacting, when you start asking why and when instead of apologizing for what you feel, you take your power back. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus taught that circumstances don't make the man, they reveal him to himself. These breakdowns? They're not the end of you. They're the unveiling. They're the signs. And now, you have to decide what to do with what you know. So, here's what I want you to say, right here, right now. Say it out loud. Type it in the comments. I reclaim my flow. That's your affirmation. Write it below. Shout it in your room. Whisper it into your journal. Say it in the car. Burn it into your spirit. Because the more you speak it, the more you own it. The energy that was stolen can be returned, but not through fear, through clarity. And once you see the pattern, you can cut it off at the root. Stay with me, because the next sign is the one most people miss, until they start finding strange objects that were never supposed to be there, things that don't belong, and yet somehow ended up exactly where your spirit is most vulnerable. Sign 3. You start finding strange objects or arrangements in your space. If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed. Marcus Aurelius. Truth doesn't always speak in words. Sometimes it speaks in whispers, and sometimes it shows up in the form of a string tied under your doormat, a burnt piece of cloth tucked into your drawer, or a gift that suddenly feels heavy in your hand, like it's carrying more than just sentiment. My friends, let's get real. Most people wouldn't even notice these things. They'd toss them aside, laugh it off, or worse, keep them, thinking nothing of it. But those of us who have lived through spiritual attacks, we know better, because energy attaches to things. Intent rides on objects like wind carries a scent. You may not see it, but you feel it. Imagine this. You walk into your bedroom, the one place that's supposed to be your sanctuary, but something's off. The air feels stale. Your sleep is restless. And then you see it. A strange object under your bed, a charm, a piece of string, ash, something you know you didn't put there. Your heart skips a beat. You try to explain it away, but your body won't let you ignore it. That's not clutter. That's a calling card. That's a spiritual fingerprint. Witchcraft in the modern world doesn't need grand rituals or glowing pentagrams. It just needs intention, focused, repeated, and delivered. And one of the oldest methods of spiritual sabotage, placing charged items in your space. It could be something gifted to you. It could be something hidden where you'd never think to look. Under the mattress, behind a mirror, inside a closet you haven't opened in weeks. They're not just objects. They're carriers, anchors, silent invaders wrapped in the camouflage of the ordinary. You might be thinking, but why would someone go through all that trouble? Because they can't touch your light directly. But if they can corrupt the space where your light lives, they don't have to. If they can disturb your sleep, twist your mood, fog your mind without even being in the room, then the attack becomes invisible. That's the true power of these objects. They do the work without the attacker needing to show up. Now I know some folks might say, this is just paranoia, it's all coincidence. But Stoicism doesn't ask us to believe blindly. It asks us to observe without flinching. Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. Meaning, if something is blocking your energy, don't ignore it. Face it, move through it, purify it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Not all obstacles are spiritual tests. Some are planted traps, and your job isn't to fear them. Your job is to see them, to name them and to clear them from your path with precision and calm. If you've recently found something strange in your space, something that gave you a chill, something that didn't belong, don't dismiss it. Trust your gut. Your instincts are older than your logic, and in spiritual warfare, it's your instincts that will save you. So, what do you do? First, don't touch it with bare hands. Use gloves, or better yet, a tool. Remove it from your space. If it can be burned, burn it. If it can be buried, bury it far from your home, preferably near running water or under earth that doesn't belong to you. Then cleanse your space. Salt, sound, smoke, whatever aligns with your beliefs. The method matters less than the intention. That's the power, not superstition, action. Your space is your temple, and anything that carries the weight of manipulation, envy, or hidden harm must be removed, not just physically, but energetically. And the Stoics? They would remind us, cleanse the outer, but guard the inner even more fiercely, because your mind, your soul, your clarity, that's what they're after. And here's your reminder today. I guard my temple. That's your affirmation. Say it, write it, breathe it. Type it in the comments right now if you've ever felt that chill in your space and didn't know why. Show the algorithm, show your spirit, show the ones who tried to invade your peace. You see them now, and you're not afraid anymore. Stay with me, because in the next sign, we dive even deeper into the war you didn't see coming, when your emotions, your mind, your own body start turning against you. And you realize the attack is no longer just around you, it's now inside you. Sign 4, you start feeling emotions that aren't yours. He who fears death will never do anything worth of a man who is alive. Seneca. Fear, sadness, paranoia, guilt, rage. But the strangest part? You can't explain where any of it is coming from. You wake up in tears but have no memory of why. You walk through your day with a pressure in your chest, like the world's about to end. But nothing happened. Or maybe it did. Just not to you. Not in the visible world anyway. My friends, this is how it begins, when witchcraft stops knocking at your door and starts whispering through your mind. And suddenly your emotions don't feel like your own anymore. They feel foreign, invasive, like someone else's storm has taken shelter in your soul. Let's imagine it. You're standing in the shower, trying to clear your thoughts, when out of nowhere, you're hit with a wave of shame. Deep, heavy, suffocating. But you didn't do anything wrong, or you're driving to work and your hands start trembling on the steering wheel, not from caffeine, but from fear you can't name. And here's what most people do next. They blame themselves. Maybe I'm too emotional. Maybe I'm overthinking again. No, you're not. You're under attack. And the battlefield? It's your inner world. This isn't just about bad vibes. This is about energetic invasion. Dark intentions wrapped in silence, projected toward you until your peace begins to rot from the inside out. This is the psychological warfare of modern witchcraft. When they can't ruin your life directly, they ruin your mindset. Your emotional state becomes the playground for someone else's poison. You might start thinking, why do I feel so drained around them? Or, why do I feel anxious in places that used to calm me? Your body will pick it up before your mind does. Your chest gets tighter. Your thoughts get darker. Your patience wears thin. And no matter how much you meditate, pray, journal, or run, it lingers. Because the attack isn't physical, it's vibrational, and it's designed to feel just believable enough to make you doubt yourself. Here's the dangerous lie people often swallow. If I'm feeling this way, I must be the problem. But let's break that right here. You are not the problem. You are the target. And you know how we know. Because these feelings started suddenly. They showed up right after someone entered your life or came back into it. It's not you, it's the energy they carry. It's the emotion they're projecting onto you. And in many forms of witchcraft, that's the entire strategy. Infuse you with emotions that paralyze your focus and distort your inner world. The Stoics didn't use the word witchcraft, but they understood this battle. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." But he wasn't talking about fantasy. He meant that when our inner world is distorted, our entire experience becomes poisoned. So the greatest act of power is to separate what's yours from what's not. Think of it like this. Your spirit is a clear lake. But every time you let someone with dark energy near, they throw stones in your water. At first, it's just ripples. But keep allowing it, and soon you can't see your reflection anymore. That's what they want. That's the spell. Confuse you, exhaust you, make you doubt your own peace until you abandon it yourself. But you don't have to let them win. Awareness, my friends, is your sword. The moment you name it, you weaken it. When you feel emotions that don't belong to you, pause. Ask yourself, where did this come from? Who was I with? What changed in my space? Trace the pattern. Journal it. Say it out loud. Because once you identify the source, you can begin the cleansing. And you can cleanse. That's the good news. Ground yourself with nature. Cleanse your aura with smoke or salt or sound. Reclaim your thoughts with affirmations. And remove yourself from the presence of anyone whose energy disturbs your peace, even if they smile while doing it. Especially then. Your emotions are sacred, and they should never be a garbage bin for someone else's darkness. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, breathe in and say this out loud. These emotions are not mine. That's your shield today. Write it in the comments. Speak it into your day. Print it on your soul. Show yourself. Show the algorithm. Show the world that you know the difference between feeling and infiltration. Because in the next sign, we're about to expose what happens when it's not just your mind being tampered with, but your relationships, the people you love, turning on you without warning. Stay with me. It's about to get even deeper. Sign 5. Loved ones turn cold without reason. Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question. What fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? Marcus Aurelius. One day they love you. The next, they look at you like a stranger. No warning, no reason. Just coldness, silence, distance, and you're left staring at your phone, rereading messages, replaying conversations in your head, wondering, what did I do? But here's the thing, my friends. You didn't do anything. That shift in their energy, that sudden change in their behavior, that's not always organic. Sometimes it's influenced, manipulated, energetically hijacked. Witchcraft doesn't always attack you head-on. Sometimes it attacks your connections, your emotional lifelines. Because the fastest way to break a soul is to isolate it, make you question yourself, make you feel abandoned. That's the tactic. That's the trick. You lose your support system, and suddenly you're spiritually exposed. You'll notice it starts subtly. A close friend goes quiet. A family member becomes irritated by your presence. Words are twisted. Your character is misjudged. And no matter how gently you try to fix things, it only gets worse. It's like trying to hug a ghost. It slips right through. And while your heart breaks, your mind spirals. Am I changing? Do they know something I don't? Did I become the villain? No, you didn't. but someone may have wanted them to see you that way. This is how spiritual interference works. It turns hearts against you without ever touching their hands. It plants suggestions, feelings, resistances, and suddenly, your name sounds different when spoken by their lips, colder, unfamiliar, distant. But here's what the Stoics would say: detach from the opinions of others and return to what you know is true. You are not here to beg for love. You are here to protect your light. So say it with me right now. I release what turns cold. Write it in the comments below if you felt this shift and finally see it for what it is. Let it be your line in the sand. Show them, show yourself. You are no longer chasing connection. You're reclaiming your clarity. And stay with me, because in the next sign, we uncover how your dreams, yes, your sleep, can become a doorway for darkness when someone truly doesn't want you to rest. Sign 6. Nightmares, sleep paralysis, and shadow dreams. Rest and be thankful, but beware. What follows you into sleep often speaks louder than what greets you in the day. Anonymous. There's a kind of exhaustion that coffee can't fix, the kind that sits in your bones even after 8 hours of sleep. But let's be honest, you're not really sleeping, are you? You close your eyes, and instead of peace, you enter a world that feels hijacked. Dreams twisted into something sinister, repeating symbols, people chasing you, shadows watching, and worse, you wake up breathless, heart pounding, unable to move, frozen, paralyzed. My friends, that is not just a bad dream. That's spiritual trespassing. When someone targets your energy, they don't always come for your waking hours. They come for your most vulnerable state, when your conscious mind is asleep and your subconscious door is wide open. Witchcraft isn't always cast in daylight. Sometimes it waits for nightfall. It enters through the cracks of your fatigue and plants fear, confusion, dread. You might tell yourself it's just stress, that everyone has weird dreams. But these aren't just dreams, they're invasions, especially when they repeat, especially when they follow a pattern, especially when you wake up feeling like something followed you out of the dream and into your day. Stoic wisdom reminds us that what disturbs the soul must be examined, not ignored. If your rest has become haunted, pay attention. What changed recently? Who entered your life? Who gifted you something? Whose energy lingers after they leave? Your sleep is sacred. It's not just where you rest, it's where you heal. And when that space is compromised, your entire being suffers. But you are not helpless. Cleanse your bedroom, protect your space, speak light into the darkness. And before you close your eyes each night, say this out loud: my spirit is guarded. Write it in the comments if you've been fighting these silent battles in the dark and are ready to take your rest back. Say it not just to me, but to whatever's been lurking in the shadows, hoping you'd stay unaware. Because the next sign, it's the one that hits deepest, when your faith, your rituals, your connection to the divine suddenly feels blocked, and the very things that used to make you strong start feeling distant. Stay with me. Sign 7. Your spiritual practices suddenly feel blocked. If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Seneca. There was a time when your rituals gave you peace. Prayer brought clarity. Meditation brought stillness. Journaling helped you process and protect your mind. But now, it feels empty, forced, heavy, like the connection between you and something higher has been cut. You sit down to align with your spirit, and instead of warmth, you feel resistance, fog, discomfort, maybe even dread. My friends, this is not just a rut. This is spiritual interference, a deliberate severing of your sacred signal. You try to pray, but your thoughts wander into fear. You try to meditate, but the silence feels crowded. You reach for your sage or salt or sound, and it feels like nothing is working. That isn't coincidence. That's blockage. Designed, sent, manifested by someone who wants you spiritually blind. Because when your connection to your highest self is cut, you're easier to control, easier to confuse, easier to drag down. Witchcraft in its darkest form doesn't just mess with your life. It disconnects you from your light source. That's how it wins. And this is where most people give up. They say, "I don't feel anything anymore," and they stop showing up for themselves. They stop fighting. But that's exactly what the darkness wants. The Stoics would tell you, do not depend on how something feels. Depend on what you know to be true. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your rituals still work. Your practices still hold power. But now you must meet them with warrior energy. This is not a time for passive healing. This is a time for spiritual offense. So here's your affirmation. I return to my power. Say it. Write it in the comments. Don't whisper it. Declare it. Let whatever's watching know that the blockage ends here, that your spirit is no longer available for manipulation, that your rituals are now weapons, not decorations. And if this hit home, if you felt this spiritual disconnection, this silence from the divine, do something about it right now. Cleanse your space, say your prayer, light your candle, and make sure you like this video, subscribe and tap the bell, because the battle might be invisible, but your power is real. And the next video may be the spiritual weapon you didn't know you needed. You are not alone, you're awakening. Let's rise together.